All right, so welcome, guys. Colin Chavez, I'm your mentor, and we're going to be talking about how to track your food, how to track food, how to create a custom meal plan for yourself, how to understand the calories that we learned before and to apply it and convert it into a meal plan. Because personally, that is the method that I enjoy, which is creating a meal plan and following it for 16 weeks. You follow it all the way through, and you can modify it week by week or every time you hit a plateau. Now, what does that mean? Every single time that you are burning fat and you just continuously burn fat, you just leave it be. You leave the diet as it is, you leave the meal plan, you leave your routine as what it is. It's when you start to kind of plateau a little bit and you're like kind of staying the same, then now you got to adjust calories again, and you lower the calories a little bit, and then now you're burning fat again, and then you hit a plateau. And again, every plateau you adjust by increasing cardio and decreasing your calories. Remember, we talked about the matrix, the calorie cardio matrix. So they are kind of energizing and supercharging each other. And so only when you hit plateaus, you've probably heard the saying, don't fix what's not broken. So if it's not broken, don't fix it. You don't need to accelerate it. You've probably heard this as well, but a pig gets fed, but a hog gets slaughtered. And that goes along, that's some wisdom right there you can apply to anything. But if you're too greedy, you're gonna get slaughtered, you're gonna get hit. And if you do decrease your calories a little too much, and you do increase that fat burning ratio a little too fast, you absolutely will have a higher chance of binging and then going back to where you were. And you almost just like lost progress again. We're not trying to have this aggressive kind of like thing over a period of time where it's like, okay, at the end of it, you're down here, but you started here. We don't want that. That's the if it fits your macros method, and there's also another method called carb cycling, which I wanted to let you guys know, do some research. We're not going to be talking about carb cycling very much in this course because I don't believe in it. I think it's too aggressive for the body. I can see the value in it to some degree. The science behind it is that you're basically forcing a bunch of carbs into your body on purpose. Like I'm talking 1,000 grams of carbs a day, a gross, disgusting amount of calories. And then you go down to little amounts of calories. And you're really, the idea is they say you're trying to confuse your body, but you can't really confuse it. But essentially you're just abusing it. I think it's abuse. They think it's confusion. But ideally you're restarting your metabolism in overdrive and forcing so many calories into your body where you're just like, your body is just more adaptable and ready to burn calories as you go. And that's called the carb cycling method. And that would be like doing 1,000 grams of carbs over here and then 60 grams over here. And then you kind of like do this method and it's just aggressive. And I personally don't like it. And it's too intense for me. I always enjoyed the slow and steady method like this because it creates discipline and you don't have to abuse yourself like that. And it's just, this is more sustainable. This method right here is way more sustainable than this method. I mean, again, I think you're borderline making yourself diabetic by eating that many carbs, and it's just you feel like crap. You're on the extreme. You're on the extreme of feeling like crap by eating too much, and then you're on the extreme of not eating enough. And it's just like, I understand that, but is the goal suffering or is the goal long suffering? And there's a difference between long suffering versus suffering. Long suffering is like this slow, steady discipline over time. This is just insane. So again, avoid carb cycling. In my opinion, I never subscribe to it. Again, I haven't done it, to be fair, but I've seen people do it, and I've been around other bodybuilders who've done it, and they're just suffering, and it works for them. But I don't think that it's sustainable. And this right here has always got me the most shredded physique ever, and consistently, and I've looked better, and it's just more discipline. Plus, here's another interesting scientific thing, and it's similar to the Lindy effect, where if something exists long enough in a certain area or for a certain time, it'll continue to exist. And so if you've been fat all of your life, there's a higher chance you're going to continue to be fat. If you've been lean, there's more of a chance you're going to continue to stay lean. So if you are all of a sudden a fat boy and you all of a sudden become a skinny boy within a few weeks, your body's been a fat boy for a long time. And again, your body's always trying to stay in equilibrium. So if you are escaping your equilibrium a little too much, your body's going to try to force it back into this stage here. So what is the goal is as you continuously lower the calories over time, your new equilibrium, this bar, imagine this bar right here is zoomed into here. This little bar continues to lower over time. And this bar lowers, and now your new equilibrium is over here because you've spent more time over here. If you do the carb cycling method, this line ends up being like this. So you're a fat boy, and then you're skinny boy for a little bit, but your body wants to be fat again, and then you're skinny again a little bit, and then it keeps wanting to come back up. But if you're here, you're not really suffering. You're lowering your calories just a little bit. Your body is wanting to, you're pushing it below a little bit, it comes back up, but you slowly push that envelope over time. And then eventually you have this, your calories are now down here, and your body is more used to being down here because you've spent the last 3 months. Let's say each line represents a month. You spent 1 month here. You've spent 1 month here, you spend 1 month, and you've been, for the last 3 months, you've been around this average area, which is around here. That's more, so your body is going to want to stay closer to around here. And then the time is really what helps you here, because the longer you spend somewhere, we become what we tolerate. We become what we do, what we allow, we become. If you allow yourself to be fat, you're going to stay fat. If you allow yourself to stay skinny and you stay there, you're going to stay there longer, and you keep doing these thresholds and you keep moving it over and over and over until eventually your skinny body, your leaner body, your stronger body becomes the new norm because you've been there longer. We're not thinking about, let's do a quick little 8-week cut. We're not thinking about that. That's your traditional personal training. We're thinking about, how do we do a long lifestyle of like 2 years? Let's do 24 months of staying lean. And we want to stay low, and then let's do another 12 months after that, and then eventually and build muscle. And the more muscle you have, like, my physique is not where I want it to be, but for me to lose my base of 185 pounds at 5'9", I have to do a lot of work to really lose my base. I've built up my base for many years, and yes, I'm not where I want to be physically, but I'm not going to revert back to my 160-pound self, my 150-pound self back in high school, because I've been working on this thing since I was 15 years old, and I built my base up to 185. 185 is my new base, and that's kind of where I chill around. Now, for me to get above that, I have to. It's the same thing. It's the reverse. You want to build muscle, which we'll talk about muscle in the previous courses. Same thing. You increase your weight over time. And the longer you stay at that weight, the longer your body's going to stay at this weight. And you can use it in the inverse. So if you're a skinny boy and you want to be a big boy, then you got to increase your calories a little bit, and you got to stay up here as long as possible. And then you maintain that higher calories, but you up it a little bit more over here, and so on. And then eventually at the end of 6 months, or realistically, let's just say this is like 3 years, your body is going to want to stay up here because you've been constantly in a higher position. So if you're inconsistent, you're small, you get big for a little bit, you get back small, like you've spent more time being small, so you're going to stay small. So anyways, you get that concept. That's how we're going to approach the meal plan. You're going to slowly adjust it as needed to maintain that slow decline. So I'm going to now do something interesting where I'm going to go on my iPad, do like a live, basically meal plan creation through MyFitnessPal along with GPT, and just show you how to create a meal plan. And we're going to kind of do this off the fly, and I'm going to split the screen so you can see it, because I want you to see what I see and how I can do that. So before we go into that, you need to decide, as we talked about before with your meals, how many meals are you comfortable making a day? And I'll go into the health side first real quick. We're going to go into the health portion, just some little health tips, because people need this, and this does help you with fat loss. Again, it's really the calories in versus calories out, which is the main important thing. But a lot of people are so stuck on like, hey, it's the healthy food that's keeping me lean, but it's really not. It's that you're eating less calories. And we're going to I'm going to help you understand the health part, and then we'll go into the meal plan. So again, Yes, you can be healthy and it can drop your fat, but we know that it's calories in versus calories out. And we know that it has to do with that. But oftentimes when you do increase the health, increase the health, make your health better, oftentimes automatically you typically eat healthier, therefore you're eating less. So we're going to talk about that. Again, eating healthier does not mean you're going to get leaner, okay? I want to reemphasize that point here. You can disagree with me all you want, but I want to reemphasize that point. Just because you eat healthy does not mean you're going to get lean. You can get super fat off of healthy food, just like you can get super lean off of unhealthy food. To get lean, it's not about the health of the food. I promise you that. You will feel better eating healthy, and you may drop some pounds because of the habits that are better, but it's all about the calories in versus calories out. Let me give you a few random examples you can see. You can switch to sparkling water. I mean, again, it's always about the calories, but let's just do a little comparison. You have a guy who drinks, he needs a drink every day. He has to have some sort of drink in his hands. This guy has sparkling water. This guy has soda. I mean, they're both drinking, satisfying that urge of carbonation on their tongue. Maybe this guy has energy drink, whatever. Same thing. You can find energy drinks with low calories, low sugar, if not none. You can also find sparkling water with no sugar, but then the soda is going to have calories. So just this little habit alone is he's eating soda, and you might think, oh, well, because I stopped drinking soda, I lost fat, so therefore healthy food must make me less fat. It's actually not. It's that you just replaced this habit with a better habit, which is just less calories, and therefore you're going to naturally burn fat by doing so. So it's again, I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but there are, and I'll include a list here in a second, and I'll put the list in the notes and whatnot, and you can see what foods you can aim for. But again, it's all calories, and that's what this course is all about. I'm going to show you in a second how to do a meal plan, how to create a meal plan, how to use MyFitnessPal, how to create your own calories and divide it so you understand. Because again, in my mind, when I'm looking at the mathematics here, you might think, well, let me just eat healthy. Instead of white bread, I'll just eat sweet potatoes. Okay? Well, yes, white bread is higher in the glycemic index and sweet potatoes is lower, but that still doesn't really change much. It changes how you feel and how the sugar is digested and how fast it's going to be in your system versus out of your system. But if these are both equal to the same calories, if this is 300 calories and this is 300, then it's the same. It doesn't really matter. It's just that now we're talking more about health, which is more about like your insulin response and your pancreas, and that's a whole nother subject. Again, I've said this at the beginning that I can dive into the health category a little bit, but I'm mostly an expert in fat loss. So you have 2 pieces of toast, let's say for your daily morning routine. You've got a stick of butter, and you do 2 tablespoons of butter, and you put that on the toast. You've also got 2 eggs, and on your eggs, you got your sriracha sauce, you got some cheese, put some ketchup, and versus this guy over here does his stick of butter, he does 1 tablespoon a day. His eggs he eats plain, maybe some salt, and he cooks. And this guy, by the way, he cooks another tablespoon in his eggs too, and then this guy uses 1 tablespoon to cook the eggs, another one for the toast, and you see how like the calories add up. Really, that's all I'm trying to say is like little calories add up. And if you're constantly going in your house eating just random things, mindlessly snacking, adding a little bit of extra ranch here and there, a little bit of peanut butter on your toast, a little bit of butter, that adds up. So that's why tracking what you don't manage, what you don't track, you can't manage. So you absolutely need to track. And it's not eating healthy is fantastic. And I'm not going to say, again, that's a separate category. You have your health and you have fat loss. And those are 2 separate categories. They each help each other. But fat loss is heavily dictated by calories in versus calories out, and health is dictated by eating healthy, but that can help you with fat loss. But it's usually when you're eating healthier, you're really just eating less calories. Let's say you say, oh, I'm going to eat some avocado toast. I'm so fancy. I'm so healthy. Okay, well, it doesn't really matter if your goal is fat loss and you ate more avocado and you had a whole avocado on your toast versus this other guy had half an avocado or a third. He's eating less calories. So it does not matter about the health portion. In terms of eating healthier just to get leaner is a myth. Okay? It's about eating less calories than you need. We're going to move on to an exercise and create a meal plan through MyFitnessPal. Okay, so on the dashboard here, you can create your goals. You can say how much you weigh. You can create your calories. You can track it to other like fitness apps or the iWatch. And once you are able, don't worry about the calorie part yet until you go to the diary. So here's what we're going to do. Again, you're going to track your calories for 3 to 7 days. Just eat normally. Everything you track, everything you eat, you're going to measure. Now, you might think that's a lot of work, and how is that possible? But I eat at a Mexican restaurant, or I work at a restaurant. How do I do that? Well, you got to have a scale, and I'll put the link and I'll show you the information there. But you need a scale that measures in ounces and also grams, and that you can weigh the food. And also, you need to have the measurements precise, and you need to put them into the app. Okay. So if I push the plus button, you have a barcode and a meal scan. So you can, with MyFitnessPal, it has AI integrated, so it's a lot smarter than it used to be when I used to use it back in the day, a lot more heavily. But the barcode is awesome because you can grab a piece of food, scan the back, it'll just automatically import all of the grams of carbs, fat, and protein. And you can also log food. So let's say I click log food. You can see all my previous stuff here. I mean, look, you got flaming hot Cheetos. So let's say I eat some Cheetos, okay? Let's add that. Cheetos added. I had that for dinner, meal 6. Food logged. I had some steak for meal 6 as well. I had some teaspoon of olive oil this morning for cooking. I had a Fairlife protein shake. Boom. I had 4 eggs. Boom. I had some Parmesan cheese crisps as a snack. Boom. I had a cup of noodles today. Boom. For lunch. Boom. See how many times I could say boom. Sourdough bread for dinner with that steak. And I had a banana for pre-workout. Had some blueberries for breakfast with my eggs. And had some ground beef for lunch. Okay, cool. That's good enough. Now I don't think I logged everything incorrectly. I put it all in meal 6, but you would have to switch. You'd have to switch to meal 1, log. Meal 3, log. Meal 5, log. But right now everything's in meal 6, whatever. It doesn't really matter at this point because it's just less organized, but it's still the same. I'm gonna go to. Okay, so let's click each food so we can look at it. If we ate a medium banana, you had 30 grams of carbs, 0 fat, 1.3 grams of protein. Very cool. I wouldn't count that as protein, honestly, but it is what it is. Looks like there's a little bit of protein there. Good for that. And you can see how each food has calories and macronutrients attached to it. I'm trying to find where my meals should all be. See right here. So you can see that as you're following the if it fits your macros method, as you're continuously eating and tracking and you have a goal, it'll slowly increase the calorie bar until you hit your calories. This is if it fits your macros type of thing. You can see that my pre-settings is for hitting 212 grams of protein a day, and I'm almost there. This is if it fits your macros type of style, where you can see my calories at 2,300. My goal is 3,600. And if you pay for the other versions, you can see your macronutrients here, which you should be able to see them for free. They did change the app, but you should be able to see it for free. But let's go to the meal plan. Let's see if we can find my meals, or try to find the. Again, this is a little bit different than I'm used to. New update, plus on the iPad. Okay, so nutrition, yes, see, nutrition should allow you for free to see where you're at. So you can see that I already hit I'm almost at my protein goal. I have 30 grams left. My carb goal, I haven't hit it yet. So let's just say I'm doing If It Fits Your Macros method, where I'm just eating as I go throughout the day and just make sure I stop short of my goal and I don't overeat. I would be eating, I would be tracking as I eat. I would have my iPad on me or maybe my phone. I would just be eating and just measuring and eating, and that can be fun for some people. I don't like it personally. And then as you get close, see, I know that right now I can't go over my protein. I only have 30 grams left, but I still need to eat 30 grams to hit my goal. Carbs, I can still afford to eat a lot more because my goal is 454, which, by the way, that's not my goal. It's a little bit high, but in the numbers, don't worry about them. It tracks your sugar, your fiber, your fat. My fat, I'm almost hit my goal here, and that's where I'm at. So if I go to macros, you can see that my goal is 212 protein, 158 carbs, fat 101, and you can see that this is the ratio that you can create. You can go by ratios, or you can just go by the numbers, and this tracks it here. Okay, so you see meal 1, there's nothing. Meal 2, there's nothing. Meal 3, there's nothing. Looks like they added an intermittent fasting tracker. That's pretty cool. Same thing though, whether you're intermittently fasting or you're not, you eat, you track, and you make sure you eat less than what you need, and you're going to be underneath your calorie goal, which is going to help you burn fat. So right now, this is what you're looking for in the diary section. This is how many calories is remaining. I have all my food right now in meal 6. And as you add food throughout the day, and you can even add your exercise, your water, this is how you add. So you say, okay, cool, meal 1, I ate some blueberries. There's 21 carbs in there. A little bit of fat, surprisingly, very little. A little bit of protein, surprisingly. Add it. Some egg whites, which by the way is 21 grams. Oops, wrong one. Which by the way is mostly protein, 21 grams per egg white. But this one is 6. So if I were to do one egg white, it would be 3 grams. If I want to do 6 of them, I would add 21 grams. So keep track of that too. You can do quantities here. I like to do like 1 egg and then increase the multiple here. That's what I like to do. And you can also change which meal plan to add it to. So if I go back here, if I look at my diary, I click the diary button. Meal 1, you have some meals logged, 1,000 calories left. Now this is how you create your meal plan. You would have to decide, you go to GPT, like we talked about. You would have to copy and paste everything you created from let's just say you want to create a meal plan for week 1 or first plateau. Use this until you hit a plateau, until you get sick of it, then you can create a new one. So in this case, you want the calories, in this hypothetical, we want the calories at 2,750. We decreased the calories by 250. And we created the meal plan. Remember that? So we have 2 whole eggs, this much egg whites, this much sweet potatoes. So we just copy and paste. Pretend like I'm doing it all perfectly. But you would add it here, right? Sweet potato. And we had it for, 200 grams. So I usually do ounces, but let's say you want to do grams, that's fine. You can go on GPT and say switch it to ounces so you can understand that better. But if you prefer grams, then that's easy. Basically, you just click this, you click 1 gram, and then you do 200. And then that's 40 grams of carbs. I like ounces way better. So like, let's just do that as an experiment here. Convert the grams for the carbs to ounces so I can better, and also ounces for the meat as well, and the rice. An ounce egg whites. Okay, perfect. So 7 ounce sweet potato. We go back to ounces. 7. Plus you can go further. Yeah, okay. Same thing, 40 grams. See? That's just what I prefer, but it's really up to you. Now you can see here that that's how you do it. You enter in what's here that you just created. You copy and paste. You got up to 5 meals. In this case, I have mine set to 6 because that's what I used to do. And I like the more meals you eat, the faster your metabolism is and the less calories you're feeding yourself at one given moment. Therefore, the less body fat you're going to put on at that moment. And you're spreading the calories out over time. And yes, you're going to feel full at first and kind of bloated, but then eventually your body is forced. It's been given food and it adapts and it speeds up the metabolism, which ultimately makes your cycle quicker and you burn body fat faster. So it's really up to you. Again, if you're eating only like 2 meals, we talked about this earlier, up it to 3, master that for a couple months, then up it to 4, and then master that for a couple months. Maybe you can consider opening it to 5. Faster metabolism is not the end of the world. You don't need to have it, but it does help. And if you don't mind eating multiple meals, do it. But ultimately, it's about calories in versus calories out. But it's just gonna be a little bit slower process because your machine is not burning as efficiently. But it's not a huge deal. You can, at the end of the day, if you're eating less calories than you need, that's all that matters, and you're gonna hit your goals. Or if you are doing more cardio than you need. So yeah, so this, hopefully, I know it's a little messy. I haven't looked at this in a while. In a little bit, I need to recreate my plan. I used the mobile version, which is way different, but they are similar. But whether you're using mobile or iPad, essentially you're going to log in, you create your goal, which, by the way, you want to track everything for 3 to 7 days first. Get your average calories, divide, if you had 2,500 calories on Monday, 2,700 on Tuesday, 2,300 on Wednesday, etc. Add those all together, divide by the number. That's your average. Use that number. Then, like the other previous course, you're going to slowly increase your calories week by week to force your metabolism to speed up. Then it's going to possibly gain some fat too. That's fine. Your metabolism increases, you gain a little bit of fat, no big deal. Then you get your calories as high as possible. Then you slowly decrease, and you do the cardio calorie matrix, you decrease, and you also increase your cardio. And then you before you decrease though, you come to this dashboard, you create your meal plan using GPT, you put in your calorie goal, you divide it by equally with 6 meals or 5 meals or 4 meals or 3 or 2 or 1. You try to eat as clean as possible if you'd like, just to control the calories, because fatty beef, you can't really control how much fat is in there. It's just a guesstimate. But ultimately, you would want to make the fat or the beef as lean as possible, or the meat. And then you can control the fat by adding the fat in, and you can have easier control. And then try to have low glycemic carbs, like we talked about. Jasmine rice is not the lowest glycemic, but it is a little bit lower glycemic than other white rice. But also, I personally stay away from brown rice, more of a health choice, because of there's like toxins and certain things inside of it, which I don't have in the top of my head, and it often hurts me too. It has more fiber, so I don't like the feeling of my stomach. So I like faster digesting, cleaner carbs. So I like jasmine rice, but you can have a combination of low glycemic and a little bit of higher glycemic carbs if you're going to eat them. And then of course have as your protein as high as possible, 1 gram per pound of body weight. And then keep your fat as high as possible for your hormones. No less than 60 grams. I would start at 100 plus, and then manipulate the carbs, manipulate your cardio, and then manipulate the fat, but keep the protein the same. And then after you create this meal plan, you copy and paste, or you swap it over to the diary section. You enter in your numbers in the dashboard. You put in your macronutrient goals. You add each meal, and you basically create that meal plan once. You save it as a meal plan. And then, of course, you can click nutrition and check everything here. Once it's saved, you now have your meal plan you can follow. and you can print it out, put it on your fridge, follow it on your iPad, and you really don't have to track anymore at that point because you've just created it. You know what you're going to do, and then every single on GPT, for example, you're gonna save this. It's gonna stay saved, and you're gonna say, all right, hey, I hit a plateau. I'm now wanting to adjust my calories negative 250, and I want you to equally disperse that through all the meals, and take it away from a little bit from the fat, but mostly from the carbs, and create a new meal plan for me. And I would personally recommend going to 250 at a time if you were to do this. Again, this is not nutritional advice. Do it at your own risk. If you want to get lean and get shredded, do it, but don't do it if you don't, okay? And I'm not giving you any advice. This is just what I've done, okay? To get shredded. And you increase your calories and you adjust it. Now with these AI tools, it's so much easier. I used to have to do this math myself. And again, the math I taught you, which is good that you know the math, but you don't have to use it now with AI. I mean, you can double check it, of course, but you can see now that I've corrected it. The fat is dropped a little bit. Carbs are dropped as well. Easy, look at that. Meal 1, instead of 7 ounces, it's 6 ounces. It even shows you, it says down from 7 ounces. Fantastic. Oh, I need to say, okay, protein is the same. Okay, good. It's just balanced. Well, why is there a protein trim? Hold on. I don't want the protein to be trimmed at all. You gotta double check it. Double check your math, right? Don't always trust it. Yeah, and that's it. There you go. So everything's the same. It's just the carbs are down adjusted. And then you just go back to your meal plan. You readjust your calories here, your calorie goal. Edit goal. Go in your calories, edit your calorie goal. You can adjust your carb goal, your protein goal, or just keep the protein the same, adjust the fat and the carbs, and then now with your plan, your diary, you can do everything again and create a new plan. Enter it in. Now it's tracked. You can print this. Technically, you don't even need MyFitnessPal at that point. You're really just using it for other purposes, but in reality, you can do it all here too. You now print this out, put it on your fridge, or just keep it, or you can see it every day, follow it, and then follow every time. Only change it if you hit a plateau. Do this for 16 weeks. If you do get, now let me show you this. I'm going to show you if you do happen to get bored, how you can change it. So let's say you're following everything. Meal 5, you're like, fudge, I don't want to eat my turkey breast and my, let's see what meal 5 is. Lean steak and some sourdough bread. That sounds good, but this one only has 5 meals, by the way. If you had 6, whatever. Let's just say one of your meals was turkey, ground turkey, and some rice. You're like, oh, I just don't want to eat that. Cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at meal 5, for example. There's 6 ounces of steak, some sourdough, and looks like they removed the fat for this. Okay, interesting. So what we can do is when you enter that into MyFitnessPal, I like to do ounces, 8 ounces, and sourdough bread, 2 slices, whatever. We're just gonna put that in there. You can see here that for meal 4 or 5, you have, these are the numbers here. So if I click it, if I click meal 5 and I go to the nutrition on the bottom, I've got total fat 20 grams, carbs, this isn't right. What am I looking at? Oh, this is a steak. I'm just looking at the steak exactly, but I'm trying to look at the whole entire thing here, and I think these are the numbers. You're right here. So calories, carbs, fat, protein. Okay, so carbs, fat, protein. Calories, carbs, fat, protein. Okay. Calories 600, carbs 46, fat 21, protein 54. Yep. So all I got to do is substitute meal 5 instead of eating this, which by the way, you can either daily track this to make sure, or you can just go to meal 5 and modify it. So I need to create a meal now with 600 calories, 46 carbs, fat 21, 54 protein. I can go on GBT real quick, and I can say that, hey, generate me a meal substitute for meal 5. I want it to be something more spunctious. I don't care if it's unhealthy. I just want to eat something different. I need 600 calories, a meal that's 600 calories plus 189 plus 184. It's close. You see the math is not perfect, but it's close. And so then if I'm going to double check that with the GPT here, it's giving me a choice of this burger, cheat meal, protein, boom. Okay, so it looks like it's around 600 calories. That's what it says. Again, I would not trust it 100%. Let's put it into MyFitnessPal and let's double check. So we're gonna do 1 slice of cheese, a burger bun, 5 ounces of 90-10 beef. Okay, so we'll go to meal 5. We'll delete this. Ground beef, %. We'll do 5 ounces. We'll see. I like this. I switch it to 1 ounce. If it lets me. It did not let me. Whatever. Doesn't matter. So we're gonna do 2.5. See, that's why I like 1 ounce is much easier, but you can always change it. These people create these, so you can find a different ground beef, and you can find one that does ounces so you don't mess up your mind here. But let's just say the math here is what, 2.5. So that's 6.5. 2 is 6, 1.5, right? That's 3.5. 2 is 6. See, this is my brain. Let's find another one, like we said. See, 1 ounce. Switch it to 5, right? Perfect. Okay, we're gonna log that. That's calories 238. We look at our math in the calculator. Whatever, it's close, but let's just see. So we're gonna log that. Cheese slice. You can see that there's different numbers, right? 40, 45, 80. So you see how it's different? You definitely want to use the label to make sure, because if you're comparing your label to actually what's accurate here, then you're going to know that. But when you're at a restaurant, you may not have the accuracy, because you can see some cheese is thin, some of it's thick, and that could change a lot of the calories. But it's, again, you're not going to die if it's one meal, but you got to get as close as possible. But every calorie counts. So we're going to do 45. We'll do a little bit. No, we'll do Velveeta. Perfect. Okay, 1 slice. Boom. Logged in there. And then what else do we say? Burger bun and fries. Sugar-free ketchup. We'll do sugar. We'll see. Fries. French fries. We'll just, do you see the difference? Look. 1 cup versus half a cup. Oh, see, yeah, whatever. Okay, again, you can do cup or ounces. I like ounces. You can measure it. Let's just say we do 5 ounces. Because how are you going to get sugar-free ketchup at a restaurant? 1 tablespoon. Has sugar. And then we'll do a burger bun. We'll do the higher calorie one just to be safe. 190. Okay, so we added this. Double click the diary and it'll pop up. And we have 485 calories. I don't think that that's correct. Oh, that's why. What? No. There we go. That's why. It wasn't registering the fries. Now it registered the fries. That is actually perfect. You can see that it's right at 602 calories. 90% ground beef, which probably is going to be 80. You can still adjust it. Cheese slice, ketchup, burger bun, french fries. Boom. So GPT in this case, the math was pretty consistent. 600 calories is enough to replace your regular meal 5, which is right here. And what I would like to do too is readjust this. Like, hey, going forward, readjust my meal plan so you can show me the calories and in ounces and the calories in grams of the macros for each meal next to it. Not just the total, but each meal. Cool. So now you see each meal now readjusted to calories, protein, carbs. And now you have an idea of how much protein and carbs you're having and fat per meal. See, that's much better look. So that's what I would do if I were you. And as you can see, it's kept this here. It's kept this meal here. So that's just should only be something, you know, that you do on a cheat meal. So I would even go on MyFitnessPal and create like a sample meal plan with a cheat meal if you want to like substitute that consistently, and then you can track that. Either way, the idea is that you're hitting your calorie goal, and these are the tools to help you do so. So hopefully that helped. Now you know how to lose body fat guaranteed, 20 to 40 pounds plus within 4 to 6 months. Now you know guaranteed how to track your meals and create your own meal plan. You also know the mathematics behind it. And if you combine these things and you do this and you follow the process, you will have one of the best physiques that you've ever had if you follow the process. Again, if you need any help, I'm here. Ask questions. If you want to have accountability, we have live calls once a month. And we can even set up calls sooner than that if needed. And you can also comment. And this right here is a massive, beautiful tool that you need to create once. Once you create it once, you have it on your fridge. You can just follow that every day. I would recommend buying a lunchbox, maybe with different. It's much harder to find these days. Back in the day, I had this really awesome lunchbox with like 7 different layers, and I could have different meal containers in each one, and I just carried it around, giant meal plan and lunchbox with all 7 meals in there. So cool. It's hard to find that nowadays. Specific brand back then, maybe I could find it, but you want to have at least like enough room, not just a little lunchbox, but enough room for that. And then you want to be able to cook your meals. A little recap: cook your meals once or twice a day. I'd say twice a day. In the morning, you're cooking for the rest of the day. And then at night, you're cooking for your dinner, if not a meal for the next day, if you want to do that. And that makes it a little easier for you the next day, because now you're like, oh, I already have my lunch prepared. I only have to make my breakfast and another meal. The only downside is it's going to be cold. And I don't like to cook for the next day. I'd rather cook for that same day in the morning. Another con of that, I guess, is if you're lazy and you don't want to cook in the morning, then you may not eat, and it's better to cook at night if you have the energy for the next day, just in case. So it just depends. But again, build the habit. Start the habit of cooking at least twice a day. If you can't do that, I don't know how you don't do that. Maybe you just leave the house and you just cook at night. But just maybe wake up in the morning, cook an egg, start practicing that. Eat real quick, then leave the house, and then now you're cooking twice a day, and that's a good start. And then after you're eating twice a day, maybe then your next step could be, okay, I'm going to make one meal for the day. So that could be your pre-workout meal or your post-workout. But let's just say you eat your breakfast, your eggs, you cook one meal, you pack it, you take it out, you continue eating your food throughout the day, when you're out and about. You come home, you cook your dinner, and then you could just go to bed, or you can practice cooking another meal for the next day. So now it's like, okay, cool. I cook that one meal during the morning. I cook another meal for the next day at dinner. Now you have 4 meals cooked, or 5. use these first 2 months to really build those habits. As we talked about before, you have 4 weeks in each month. You can practice, get better, build the habit. Heck, you can even throw in another month, and then you can begin your cut. The next module, we're going to be talking about weight training, weightlifting, physical exercise, how to actually approach building your programming for the gym, where to even begin, how to not hurt yourself, how to even start your workout without destroying your body and tearing a muscle, how to not be afraid, how to not go too intense, because the average person is way too intense when they first come back and when they first start something, and they overestimate what they can do in a short term and they underestimate what they can do in a long term. So you want to underestimate what you can do at the beginning, and then you want to inch your way, increase it, and then you want to create a large plan for yourself for the future. So we'll go over mindset of the gym. We'll go over mindset, how to lift weights, how to warm up, rep ranges, where you can start with, how to program how to create your own program for your lifting, how to program yourself and follow it, and then how to track it, which apps are good to use. We'll talk about cardio as well. And that falls into the plan of fat loss, but also falls into the health bucket as well. So, Khaleesi out.